problem is, what if the teacher's the person that's injured or killed, and the only people left are the students? Do they know what 1900 means? No. Call the police.
Centralized command.
Lock down.
All right, any questions? Who called 911? Remember, one person called 911. Again, and the reason I stress it is that that's what has the tendency to happen is everybody gets like, we got to get the information out. We got to get the information out to each other. We got to get help. Remember, the quicker you call help, the quicker you're coming. All right. So here we got Nick's rifle jammed outside the landscaping classroom. He drops his rifle, and he walks out of the, during the pandemonium, he's caught down the street at 7-Eleven. Okay? So think of where you're at. What are your priorities now? Shooting has stopped. We don't know where the shooter is. You don't. How do we take care of these priorities? Right? I'll give you about 30 seconds. What are your priorities? How do you take care of them?
Active shooter still out there somewhere, unknown location. What are we doing?
Accountability. Stay safe. Don't harm yourself. Harm yourself.
So if you're still in the building, you stay where you are and start.
All right, let's go back to the B group here. What are some of your priorities? And the reason I go to you guys first is it started here. You're not locking down that cafeteria or the kitchen. You're really not. So you're right here. There's going to be people hurt. There's going to be people wounded. What are your priorities? Start taking how? What kind of injury are you going to have?
Severe bleeding.
Bleeding? Stop bleeding, right? What do we have to do that way? Rags,
First
towels,
aid kits, shirts, belts, first aid kits,
belts.
shirts, swan,
Shirts, sweaters, whatever you got.
Okay.
cauterizer.
Anything else, Dave? Accountability. Okay. Jumping ahead, I like it. Anything else? No? A group, what do you got?
I'm going to try to get the nursing staff downstairs if they're in the building to help out.
Okay. Some of the nurses.
Yeah, we're at the pizza place across the street.
I have bad news for you in a couple seconds. That's not going to work out so well in a few seconds.
Account for all the students. We have to get an accountability. How about evacuations? Are we going to evacuate or are we going to stay in place?
You don't know if the shooter's still here or not, you want to.
Wait, would you say it again?
You don't know if the shooter's where he's at, you want to.
Right. Again, there is no cookie cutter response. You gotta take as much information as you can and make the best decision with that information. How about reunification? You guys talk about that?
Rally point.
Rally points. Rally points. Everybody knows what the rally point is. Good spot for an ambush. Reunification. How are we going to account for all those kids and how are we going to reunite them with their folks? And then when the folks show up and their kid's dead, how are we going to deal with that?
Isn't that a policeman?
Huh?
That's your job.
Isn't that like police?
It's not.
Shrams.
Shrams. But again, what's the whole point of a tabletop? To examine your tactics and expose some of your weaknesses. What do I need to work on? How about the news media press coverage? Right?
Very good. Could you talk to Detective Caparella?
Yeah, keep it about it.
Yeah. Well, you think, well, what's the big deal? They are going to be here in minutes. They will be here in minutes, and they will talk to anybody that will talk. And the last thing you want somebody to do is one of your staff members, or probably it's going to be your kid, saying, I saw this many people dead. And I saw Johnny so-and-so dead. And Johnny so-and-so's mom and dad don't even know about it yet. Okay? You don't want to find that out on Facebook. So you need to talk about how are we going to deal with any type of incident at the school. How are we going to do it? All right? Like, we are not allowed to talk to the press, period. We went to an event the other day, and the press was there, and I mean, this is literally conversation. Oh, the press is here. And there was a fire marshal there. We told the fire marshal, you're talking to the press. Because it was an award for us. And I can't talk to the press. And it's for a reason. So do you have a policy in place? What's your policy? This is the stuff that's gonna happen. All right, on February 14, 2008, a former student walked into the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and began shooting. 17 students and staff were killed, an additional 17 were wounded. And that scenario, basically, in a real roundabout way, was that based on that scenario.
To give you a rundown.
He was seen outside. Go ahead, Mark.
The Sun Sentinel put out a fairly comprehensive report on this whole thing. If you research it online, you can see it. It's very extensive. It'll walk you through with diagrams, videos, photos, all these things. He came onto campus with a duffel bag, was seen by a security, what they describe as a security monitor. I don't know what other jobs that person had. Was not confronted at the time, even though it was known he was not to be on campus. That security monitor did do something. He called another security monitor with more seniority on and said, this guy just came on the campus, what do you want me to do? And basically the answer was nothing. That security monitor is then, you can see him in stills on video with Cruz down the end of the hallway, him midway up the hallway. Cruz goes into the stairwell. He again never confronts him, goes into the stairwell, he retreats back and goes into a stairwell that would have been behind him. He says to go upstairs to try and cut him off on the second level. Nobody ever initiates a lockdown. Part of the reason, and part of the reason we do this here, is because the staff claimed that they were unsure as to who could authorize a lockdown in the school, even though they knew that this kid was not to be on campus. They knew that it was odd for him to be carrying what they described themselves as a rifle bag, not a duffel bag. They described it as a rifle bag. However, when Cruz went in the stairwell, he did not go up to the second floor. He pulled out his rifle just as a student was coming in and tells the student, hey, it's going to get messy in here. You might want to get out. Just what we described to you in these trainings. The student then leaves. This is all on video, this incident, and then from the stairwell. Cruz then goes steps into the hallway, and you can see him just in the shooter's stance into the hallway. Still, no lockdown's been called. He starts shooting. I can't give you the exact breakdown on the first floor, but there are several fatalities and injuries on the first floor. During this entire incident, a classroom is never breached. People hear the shooting on the floors above. They start initiating their own lockdown. The police are notified by the guy you see on the video with Officer Peterson, that he tells him stop. That's the guy who saw him initially and never stopped. Peterson then starts calling in. He never enters. Matter of fact, Officer Peterson waited 48 minutes before he ever left his position to cover. So he never enters. Still no lockdown. The entire incident lasted just over 5 minutes. Just over 5 minutes, 17 dead, multiple injuries. A code red, or I think is what they call it, wasn't initiated until well into the incident. However, during the incident, the fire alarms were set off, so the third floor floods. On the second floor, Cruz came up onto the second floor at one point. He goes down the hallway, again, never enters a room. All teachers put that floor on lockdown. He fires into 2 classrooms, there's not one injured. He goes up to the third floor where the kids had been brought out by the fire alarm. Some got back in, as you heard. In multiple classrooms, they did not. He's fired into the hallway. There's the most fatalities are up on that third floor. Kids are still fleeing the building. He goes in. It's Florida. So what do we have in Florida? What hits there a lot? Hurricanes. They have hurricane glass on the outer windows. Cruz, seeing people as he's in the one stairwell, or I'm sorry, lounge I believe it was, sees the people fleeing, decides to fire through the glass at them. Turns out hurricane glass stops bullets. So there's a picture there of the hurricane glass with multiple rounds. At that point, his gun jams. He abandons the gun, flees the building with everybody else, took his bulletproof vest off, so he just looked like a normal kid walking around. He's walking around for however many minutes, hours, and until he's observed and confronted by law enforcement, taken into custody.
So again,
Multiple points could have been stopped, right?
a couple things that I've kind of harped on there is, talking to the media, something you never think about, but you're going to have to deal with. Reunification, you got to think about that. Seeing something, reporting stuff.